Welcome to today's deep dive. Today, we're looking at something genuinely revolutionary. Imagine a digital pet, kind of like a modern Tamagotchi from our own childhood, but totally safe, entirely ad-free, and built from scratch right at the kitchen table. That's Pixel Pets in a nutshell. It's an open-source marvel running on M5 stack hardware that really shows what is possible with today's DIY maker projects. So, let's jump right in. The fascinating question we're tackling today is how exactly does a 10-year-old kid build his very own highly complex AI Tamagotchi? Look, in a world where we, and especially our kids, are often just passive consumers of ready-made tech, this story is an absolute game changer. We're going to see how a simple idea evolved into a fully functional, smart toy.
Section 1. A father-son project. The developers behind Pixel Pets.
Let's meet this extraordinary dev team. You've got 10-year-old Justus acting as the chief designer and his dad Marcel stepping in as the technical wingman. The dynamic between these two is just brilliant. Justus would be at the whiteboard sketching out all the interactions. He was the one deciding how the pet should feel, which mini-games belonged in which virtual room, and picking out the coolest animations. Marcel's job wasn't actually to furiously type out code himself. Instead, he translated his son's creative vision into clear constraints and instructions for an artificial intelligence.
And man, this led to an incredibly rapid development cycle. In just a single Sunday afternoon, hanging out comfortably on the couch, the first beta version was actually up and running. By Sunday evening, Marcel took over to do a bit of technical polishing, organizing file structures, and writing up the documentation. And boom, by May 2026, version 1.0.0 was out as a stable release. It's just an unbelievable father-son bonding experience done in absolute record time.
Part 2. AI as co-programmer, the technical magic.
So how exactly do you build complex firmware featuring voice control and weather syncs when you're essentially just moderating your kids' ideas? Well, the key takeaway is this number, 100%. Every single line of code in this firmware was written by AI assistants, primarily Claude, actually. Marcel didn't write the code himself. He just directed the process, kept a close eye on the system architecture, and gave the AI precise prompts.
Which is fantastic and honestly super encouraging news for all the parents out there. You literally do not need a computer science degree anymore to pull off advanced maker projects like this with your kids. AI is acting as this incredible, accessible tool here. It opens up complex hardware programming to everyday families who have zero coding background. Now it's really just about the idea and the logic behind it.
Section 3. The Pixel Pets family. An overview of the open-source hardware.
These digital companions live on open-source hardware from M5 Stack. It's this neat modular system where you don't have to solder anything at all. Everything just snaps together via USB-C. It's highly customizable, meaning you can pick the exact hardware that fits your budget. Muffin is the flagship model. It's got a camera and a local AI voice module. Visu has a camera for selfies, but no voice control. Then there's Gugu, the most budget-friendly option, which uses physical buttons. And finally, Pip is this tiny pocket accessory that lets you remotely throw apples or bones to your main pet.
Feature-wise, these guys really thought of everything. The pets have 11 different moods based on things like hunger and energy levels. The device actually fetches your real local weather over Wi-Fi, so if it's getting dark outside your window, it literally gets dark on the little screen too. There are physical mini-games, like doing squats using the built-in motion sensor. And thanks to a wireless tech called ESP-NOW, which is basically a direct Wi-Fi link without needing a router, two pets can virtually meet up and exchange gifts. How cool is that?
Part 4. Safe, local, and ad-free. Peace of mind for parents.
For us parents, screen time and digital safety are massive concerns. Let's do a quick, brutal comparison here. Typical smart toys nowadays are tethered to the cloud, tracking data in the background, and constantly trying to upsell you on subscriptions. With Pixel Pets, zero accounts, no cloud dependency whatsoever. Even the advanced speech recognition on the Muffin model runs completely offline, directly on a built-in chip. Not a single spoken word ever leaves the device. It is total, absolute privacy.
And to stop those endless arguments about screen time, they built in these brilliant session limits. Using a simple local web page, you can set the daily playtime anywhere from 5 to 120 minutes. But here's the best part. When the time is up, the pet visibly yawns, goes to sleep on its own, and locks the device for a hard 30 minutes. The pet is the one dictating bedtime, not you, which, let's be real, saves a lot of exhausting arguments in the kids' room. Oh, and the sound effects are intentionally designed to be quiet and unobtrusive too.
Section 5. Understanding creativity in tech. The educational value.
Beyond just being a fun game, this is really about sparking creativity and building deep technical understanding. Think about the journey here. A kid isn't just handed a sealed plastic toy from a big box store. You assemble the hardware modules together. You flash the firmware, basically giving the pet its brain, from your computer to the device. You test it out, and then you start modding it, adding your own sounds or custom graphics. This entire process transforms kids from passive consumers into active creators of technology.
And almost by accident, a kid walking through an open source project like this picks up a perfectly balanced mix of 21st century skills. Justus learned the basics of interaction design, figuring out what actually makes something fun for a user. He got to understand real hardware components. He developed an excellent feel for how to communicate abstract ideas so an AI can actually code them, and he learned how to systematically field test a product to make sure it actually works.
So, wrapping this all up, Pixel Pets is way more than just a cool little electronic gadget with pixel art. It's a genuine working blueprint for safe, educational, and deeply collaborative family time at the kitchen table. It brings generations together to build something from scratch that everyone can be incredibly proud of. And, you keep 100% control of your own data along the way.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought today. If the barriers to creating highly complex software and smart hardware have dropped this drastically thanks to AI, what are you going to build next together? Seriously, grab some hardware parts, sit down with the kids this Sunday, and just start tinkering. The instructions for Pixel Pets are completely free and open source. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.